Hello again and welcome to episode 2 of Out of the Blue, the Friday afternoon coffee break chat about all things to do with school marketing, brought to you by the team at Blue Apple Education. My name is Mark Davis. I'm going to be joined on today's chat by David Lim, and we're going to be looking specifically at a question that was raised at one of my School Identity Masterclasses recently. A head teacher of a primary school who asked specifically, our reception intake has reduced due to a new school opening locally. So how do we promote our school and get people to see us and get bums on seats? So enjoy the conversation. I'll be back at the end with all of the important information and news about what you can expect from episode 3. In the meantime, let's get on with the chat. Hi everyone, I'm Mark Davis. I'm joined today by David Lim. Hi David.
Hi everyone.
And for our coffee break today, I'm drinking tea actually. I don't know what you're on, sir.
Ooh, tea.
Builder's tea. Strong.
Oh dear, no. I've got a decaf Nespresso with a...
Oh my word, look at that.
It's lovely, I can say.
Yeah, you've put my builder's tea to shame there. So today's topic, David, again, this is a question that was been raised in one of my School Identity Masterclasses. And it was a question, very simply, it was, how can we compete with a new local school? Raised by head teacher of a primary school. And I'll just read out actually what she wrote. Our reception intake has reduced due to a new school opening locally. So how do we promote our school and get people to see us and get bums on seats? And this is definitely an issue that I'm certainly seeing a lot more of. Schools have been raising this sort of issue. We're definitely seeing more competition for pupil places recently.
Yeah. I've just recently we've been working with one school in the Birmingham area. They had exactly the same issue where several of the local competitor schools, I guess, had academized. They'd had an injection of cash, and so they had new buildings, fancy facilities, and obviously the local families were sending their children to these new schools because of these facilities and the nice shiny building and the sports facilities. So it is a real issue, I think, for the more established schools, but it's not always a good thing.
No, I mean, it's a bit headline grabbing, isn't it? The new building. It's easy to market that, or it's easy to get some traction in terms of, local conversations and people talking about it. But once that's finished and once all of the excitement of the new building's gone, what's kind of left behind? What's the character and the nature of those schools?
They don't really have a track record, do they? Something new, as you say, it has that wow factor to start with, but it takes a little bit of bedding in time to get the teaching staff right, to get the curriculum, the way the curriculum's taught settled, and I think for a school to recognise that, a more established school to recognise that, that their buildings may not be as fancy and their facilities might not be as polished, but actually they've got some really good strong points in terms of their historical performance, perhaps, or maybe a reputation for being a little bit more caring. So yeah, there's definitely some benefits to it.
I think what we've seen as well, and perhaps what's being reflected in that question that we're being asked, is that there's been this development really in the ability of schools to market themselves. So they're just, I think academization certainly helped that, but there's the Academy Trust bringing in professional marketeers to work within their trust and bring their skills to schools. So it's not just the new schools that are opening. Some of the more traditional schools are actually just getting better at the way that they present and represent themselves and convince parents that they're the right schools. So you've kind of got those two competing things going on at the moment, which makes it quite hard for a school, a primary school sat on its own that maybe doesn't have any marketing experience or skill set to kind of compete with that. Where do they start? What's the first thing that they should do? So what should a school do if they find themselves in that situation? What's the first thing we would suggest that they should do?
I think they need to look at what they've got already, how to utilize the space that they've got, the environment where the pupils are, and really make the most of that. Produce some new photography. Number one thing I think we would always recommend for any project is to just look at the photography that a school has. If it's not very good, if it's not really going to capture minds and hearts, then just get some professional photography. A day's photo shoot is not very expensive in the scheme of things, and actually it can make all the difference in wowing potential parents back to that school. Just to focus on activity, the interaction between teachers and pupils, what's going on in lessons, what's going on in the extracurricular activities. I think so important that imagery has to be done properly. I think then looking at key messaging, looking at the messages that a school is pushing out to parents and to the community and internally. Are they consistent? Do they reflect the values of the school? Do they reflect the leadership? So yeah, that's something we would definitely look at with a school. Is just to look at that key messaging that they've got and how consistently that's used across all the marketing collaterals. And then I guess on specific items like the website, do they have calls to action? Are they being used? Is that website being used effectively to drag somebody in that might necessarily, ordinarily have skipped past, some important information, might not necessarily have clicked on to fill a form, might not even know what to do when they arrive on a website. There's so many primary school websites that don't use calls to action properly or have any information on there. I know you've got an example of that in your workshop, Mark, where there's just a page with outdoor images on it. It doesn't tell the user of their website what to do, where to go, what's important at the school, what they believe in. So yeah, there's they're three of the primary things that we would start with, I think.
Yeah, and we're going to expand on much of what you said there in some future episodes. So we will be looking at photography and how you go about actually getting photography that reflects your school and isn't just nice professional photography. And we will be looking at specifically changes you can make to your existing website just to make it work a bit harder for you. But I think perhaps one of the easiest things that a primary school can do is to perhaps step back and just put themselves in the position of a prospective parent and consider what that prospective parent, what's the experience that they're going through. So go onto your website as though you were a parent, and does it give you the sense of your school? Is it telling you all the wonderful things about your school? And how easy was it for that parent to inquire, to get some further information? How easy have you made that? Could that be improved? But then take a look at those competition schools, those schools that are perhaps taking some of your pupils, and how well are they doing it? Compare the two and just see, if you were a parent, which one would you be interacting with? Because that's a key area to help you focus on what things you're going to improve in the short term and how you can make an improvement to that. And I think one thing I really sort of suggest that a school would do is get someone friendly, your husband, your wife, a friend, someone who nobody on the school staff is going to recognize really, and get them to do a mystery shop. Literally inquire to the school, get them to give some feedback on their experience of using your website and making an inquiry, but then what was the response that they got? How did it make them feel? Did they get a nice letter back? So we've talked a little bit about that, but again, I think it's just key. It just tells you so much about where you are and how you're marketing your school. Okay, so if we look at sort of rounding up the things that we've talked about today, I think again, what we're talking about here is having confidence that you can make a difference. And we often talk to schools when they've recognized this drop in admissions, when they've seen that, oh my God, this local school is stealing pupils, and actually you can do something about it before that ever happens, before you've had that impact on funding. So it's always worth taking a look at this. So our advice would be check your current marketing, make sure it is effectively selling your school, take a look at your website, compare it to the competition, just be really honest as to whether you think that school is doing a better job than you're doing at the moment, and put yourselves in the parent's position. If you're honest and you were a parent, which school would you choose and why would you choose it? And can you improve those areas? Okay, is there anything you'd like to add, Dave, before we finish off?
My coffee today has been extremely nice, I have to say.
Well, I've run out of builder's tea, so I think it's time to round off.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
Brilliant. Hope you got something from today. Thanks for your time. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Welcome back. I hope you found that conversation useful. If you're concerned about pupil numbers, or you'd like some advice about how you can effectively compete with other schools in your area, then please do get in touch. All of the details are on screen now. And remember, we run our regular school branding and identity masterclasses, which can be a really good starting point if you're looking to get some control over your school marketing and communications. Again, our contact details are on screen. Get in touch. We'll give you some details of when the next event will be run. If you found today's episode useful, please do pass on the information to your colleagues, let them know where to find us, and subscribe to our channel. Join us again next week when we're going to be looking at some of the common mistakes that schools make on their websites. We hope to see you again. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.